future is uncertain. So let's devote this time to the present moment for ourselves. And may the next 10 to 15 minutes be peaceful. May the mind be balanced and the hindrances for a while suppressed. And let us begin by relaxing our body systematically, starting from the top of our heads. Feel the sensations on the skin and the scalp muscles on the top of our head, just the raw sensations. However it comes, it appears to the mind, let that be. Notice the tone, the warmth, perhaps even the tiny vibrations. We can even feel the sensation of the skull bone, the hardness. Maybe in the hardness there's a little bit of softness. So be it. Pay particular attention to the lightness, the softness, and with regards to the muscle, the fluidity of the muscle, the flowingness that is not entirely solid. Feel the flowing of the muscles down to our forehead. Feel the tone, softness down to our forehead. And at the sides, the temples flowing in between the eyebrows, flowing around the eyes, in the eye sockets. Allow the muscles to recoil naturally, releasing all its tension, for there's no need for such tension now. Feel the muscles flowing down our face, around our cheeks and our jaws. Allowing the jaw to relax. And the muscles at our neck flowing down, releasing all its squeeze, the tone. Let the muscles be fluid, like water, melting. Like the snow in springtime, melting. Flowing down the top of the mountain, in the streams and into the river. The muscles flowing down to our shoulders, allowing the neck to recoil to its natural, slightly curved posture. The muscles at the shoulders frequently tighten when the mind is tight. So let us relax and release the tension at the shoulders. Allow the muscles to flow down both sides of the body. Our arms, feel the muscles flowing down to the elbows, allowing the arms to gravitate by their own weights, hanging at the side, relaxing. And the muscles in our forearms, loosening their grip on the bones, flowing to the wrists and all the muscles in our palm and our hands and our fingers, as if they are falling off the bones. And back to our chest, allow the muscles to relax, releasing the tension, allowing the rib cage to move as we breathe naturally by our own natural reflex, without controlling, without participating or judging. Or the breathing happens naturally, and the muscles are just laid back, flowing down to our abdomen. Let all the tension relax, and let the body gravitate to the center of its gravity at the base of the abdomen, the dantian, and all the organs stacked one on top of the other, resting like the quietness of the cushions in the closet in darkness, resting. And all the muscles around our pelvis soft, flowing at ease, all the way to our thighs, our knees, our calves, our ankles, and our feet. Let the muscles flow as if melting, plastering ourselves onto the seats. Let all the muscles flow, perhaps even exposing the skeleton. For we are all but skeletons, clothed in flesh and skin and clothing and hair. And our facades of our position, our roles, our occupation, our status, our names, and all the conventions. Skeletons seated on a simple cushion, nothing else. Similarly, for the mind, let us relax the mind located at our hearts, not the brains. Feel the mind in our heart, at the center of our chest, peaceful, settled, also like water, like the water of a still forest pool. When all the winds and breezes have stopped, it settles into a mirror, reflective without participating, controlling, judging, mirroring everything in the sky, the passing clouds, the sun and the moons, the stars, the flying birds, without leaving a trace in the mirror when they have gone. And inviting, when the pool of water of the mind is still, all the little creatures come and partake in it, quench their thirst, and we can learn and observe their behaviors. Beautiful, ugly, predators, herbivores, they are all part of nature. And like water, when the mind is still, we can see deeply. When the mind is still, it is clear like crystal. We can see the fishes, the shrimps, the pebbles at the base. With the mind pure, transparent, mirror-like, let us bring our attention to our breath. The breath in front of the nostrils, above the upper lip, the closest of our friends and kins, always have been with us since we were born and is going to be with us all the way until the last days of our lives. The in and out breath in front of the nostrils. Keep the mind respectful, humble, like a student learning from this in and out breath. For the in and out breath is a conduit for us to connect with the Buddha. For the Buddha used the in and out breath as his space for mindfulness. In breath, out breath, out breath. Let the mind stay with the breath continuously, like a disciple, never judging, always learning. Sometimes the in-breath is long. Let it be long. Sometimes the in-breath is short. And we note that. Sometimes the out-breath is long. Sometimes it is short. Let us know that. Let the mind stay continuously on the breath throughout its course, from the beginning to the middle and to the end of each phase of in-breath and each phase of out-breath, like a shadow following a man. Never depart, always aside. Such is the mind of a meditator, mindful on the in and out breath. Stay with the breath continually without any gap of awareness. When the mindfulness deepens, the breath becomes subtle, softer, even more quiet, and it demands an increasing level of mindfulness. And let the mindfulness rise up to the challenge of ever subtler breath and ever deeper mindfulness, letting go of the world established in front, mindful, humble, faithful, completely real quiet. When the mindfulness deepens, the breath meditates on itself, and the mind is just there. Gently, let us bring our attention back to our bodies. Feel the body relax, alert, comfortable. And let us appreciate the fact that we are here and now, human, alive, healthy. And may we be well and happy. At our own time, we may open our eyes. Okay, so for the last few months, I've been sharing on the different objects of samatha meditation. We did 4 elements meditation. We did 32 parts of the body, particularly on the skeleton. We did metta, karuna, mudita, and upekkha. And then we did a series of kasina. And then we also did Buddha Nusati, Dhamma Nusati, Sangha Nusati, and then Sila, Dana, and Deva I grouped together. That was last month. So these are all samatha practice. Samatha practice make us feel good. It helps us manage worldly anxiety, stress. It makes us productive as a student, as a doctor, as a worker, as a husband, as a wife. Make us resilient. But samatha is very basic. Jhana is very basic. Okay. So, what else when the mind is very pure? It's not an end in itself. Pure mind, so what? So, pure mind, of course, is very good, no defilements, but this is not our only life. The birth is not the beginning, the death is not the end. There are so many things that we did in the past that we don't really know. And then they can come back and haunt us when the conditions are right. So you may be having samatha, samadhi, and then you come out and then somebody then totally gone, and then you blame. Suppression of the hindrances is just the beginning. The purpose of this practice of samadhi and all that is so that the mind is pure and good enough for the Dhamma. And that's why I thought to share about the Abhidhamma. Actually, it was a conversation I had with David and Hui Ling we were discussing on meditation and said that maybe you should talk about Abhidhamma. I say, yeah, I like to talk about Abhidhamma, but I am a beginner, and Abhidhamma is very, very profound. Even today, I feel that I may be making mistakes. So since it's going to be on YouTube one day, so I should put a caveat that I may make mistakes. If I do, please forgive me. Please check with teachers such as, I like Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi, and he recommended to me Professor Karuna Dasa. I also really respect Venerable U Mahinda, but he speaks in Mandarin. So his Abhidhamma teaching is one of the clearest I've heard. And Sayalay Susila. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, so I may make mistakes, so please check. But the way I want to share about Abhidhamma is why I think it's so relevant to meditators. Okay, so I'll be sharing in that context. Okay. So what is the Abhidhamma? The Abhidhamma, okay, putting aside the traditional teaching from the Pali canon and the very traditional Theravada teachers from Sri Lanka. Oh, okay. From Sri Lanka and from Myanmar, right? Putting aside those, Abhidhamma is really like a roadmap. If you have understood or you've studied the Abhidhamma, you have like a bird's eye view of the Buddha's teachings. It's a little bit like when we study any subjects, the teacher will help us create a framework. This is a framework. If you don't have a framework, you will need to listen to all the lectures, and then take all the PowerPoint slides. But the PowerPoint slides are not organized for you. You need to organize. But when you organize, there's always an issue because it depends on the number of lecturers and the number of PowerPoint slides that you can collect. So if you can read all the Nikayas from the Digha Nikaya, Majjhima Nikaya, Samyutta Nikaya, Anguttara Nikaya, and the Kuttaka Nikaya, which is even bigger than the other four combined, so big. You have to read all. You cannot just rely on knowledge on one sutta, So you have to read all. And then you have to combine everything into a framework because you have to distill away the context of the Buddha's teaching. So the Abhidhamma remove the context, the storyline, the personalities, the location. Because when the Buddha gave a Dhamma talk in the Nikaya, the suttas, there is a context. There is like Patachara, he'll say, oh, sister, be mindful. All the tears you've cried in all your lives is more than the amount of water in the oceans. But that was in that context. Mahasatipatthana Sutta, the monks was in the depth of their rains retreat. Many of them are doing jhanas, arupa jhanas. Some are doing vipassana practice. And the Buddha gave a talk on the four foundation mindfulness. And then if you're not there and practice at the level, the Mahasatipatthana is so wonderful because it's summarized. I'm going to share with you the Abhidhamma and Mahasatipatthana is very close. But if you're not there, you may not understand correctly, especially the modern days. Most of us don't read Pali. We read translated version. And when a person translates it, he has to interpret it as well. So we are limited multiple layers. So we need to, in a way, crystallize the teachings. And Abhidhamma give us a framework. It's an overview. It is also a roadmap in what sense? Like, if you want to go from here, the words, I'm sorry, I can't change now. I can't edit it. I put it to the size 24, but I think I even if I put it a lot, because I'm going to have a lot of words later. Some of the words are big, but some of the words are very small. But maybe if you can't read, you can just focus on my words. Yeah. So roadmap is like this. The destination is one thing. And if you want to go to a place, you need a roadmap. And you need a guide. Because the guide will tell you what is the place to watch out for and what are the things we need to do. So the Abhidhamma is like a roadmap, especially when we are practicing Vipassana. And then the guide is like the teacher, and the destination is like Nibbana. Okay. It is also a syllabus for when we practice to understand ultimate realities. You just understand anicca, dukkha, anatta of your material phenomena mind is not enough. Because in the syllabus, there's also one part that tells you how to connect the rupa and the nama, and also present, past, and perhaps even the future. So we need to have a syllabus to guide us. So this is the ultimate message without our own realization. There are a few ways to learn the Abhidhamma. One of them is maybe treat it like a medical school. We study everything, but if you don't go to practice in the ward, the knowledge that you learn is very theoretical. But if you study and then you go to the ward and see patients, and then sometimes you see, then all the things that you've memorized suddenly becomes alive. But if you don't study and you only see patients, you may make a lot of mistakes because you don't have the benefit of scientific evidence and experience from writers. Okay, so one method is to study and then we practice. Another method, like medical school, study and practice at the same time. Another method is practice first. Then when it comes to issue, you want to check, then go back to the study. So when you practice samatha, you don't need to read anything. Don't need to read Abhidhamma, nothing. Okay, just practice. The least you read, the better. So until the mind is very, very peaceful. Okay, very good. Then because somebody say Abhidhamma is the syllabus, oh really? I thought Nibbana already. No, okay, this is only jhana, okay, only 8 jhana. So you have to go and check what else. Then after that, then you go and check. I got still a lot of things I need to study. So that is how you can practice, and then after that you study. Okay. Yeah, I have many friends who they don't like to study Abhidhamma, but they like to practice. After they practice, then they realize, hey, I want to learn Abhidhamma. Then they go and learn. Okay. In the Abhidhamma, we need to understand that there are two kinds of realities. There is the conventional reality, that when we talk about sila, right, you don't kill, don't steal. These are conventions. Okay, there is a human, and when we kill, this is the breaking of the first precept. This is conventional reality. They are true, but this truth is dependent on the time and space and the culture. Time, for example, ancient time, modern time, and future time. Okay, place, Singapore, America, China, Africa, different. Okay, context. So it depends on many things. What is the law? What's the politics? What's the culture? What do people mean? So these are modes of expressions. They are conventionally true. They are important too. Yeah. But there's also another level, which is the ultimate reality, the Paramattha Satcha. So this is inherently valid, regardless of points of views. It's final, irreducible components of existence if you correctly analyze. What it means is, even if you go to Mars, ultimate reality is still true. Even if you live in the era of the dinosaurs, ultimate reality is still true. Whether you're in Singapore, you're in America, you're a cat or a dog, the ultimate realities are true. Okay? So let us start with conventional reality. Conventional reality is actually also known as concepts. For example, this stool is a concept. This is a stool. But if I put my laptop on it, it is a table. And if there is a dog that walks by and pee, this is like a toilet to the dog. So this is conventional truth. So to me, this is wood. But to a termite, this is food. So this is concepts. Concepts, different beings take it differently. The thing about concepts is that you can craft a concept, and if you think that it is true, it is going to confine you. There's a Chinese 成语, it's called 画地自牢. You draw a circle around you and then you imprison yourself. So this is the problem with concepts. So if we were to depend on concept as a reality, we may restrict ourselves unnecessarily, and sometimes we may suffer unnecessarily. If you check with anybody with mental health issue, usually it is the concept that's been troubling them. And these concepts are conventions. They are not ultimately true. They are related to how you see things, how people see and how you think what other people see you, and how much importance you place, and so on and so forth. The picture here is to illustrate. You can conceptualize anything, like a rabbit with horns, like a demon, like even a deity that creates the whole universe, and so on. If you were to argue with me that that is permanent, how can I argue with you that it is not? Because it is just concepts. So it is outside of ultimate reality. In the Abhidhamma, it is classified into two. The meaning concept, that means we are trying to describe, and that meaning is the concept. There's also the name concept, that is like the term that describes the meaning. Okay. For example, table is a name concept. 钉 concept. 桌子 name concept. 钉 concept. So democracy is a name, but that idea is a thing. But different people have different idea of what democracy is. If you ask me, is democracy anicca, dukkha, anatta? I don't know how to explain. Because anicca, dukkha, anatta doesn't quite explain concepts, depend on how you define concept. The important message is this: we cannot do vipassana on concepts because you can debate. Also, it means you cannot arrive at nibbana by just debating. You cannot argue about theories and then you win means you nibbana. No. So that's concepts. So all this soul, if you say there's a soul, how can I say that there isn't? Because it is your concept. Harmony. And then maybe you can argue soul is this and that. And then how can I argue with you that soul is not? Okay. Harmony, consciousness, cakes, citta, all these are concepts. But citta, the meaning, the thing that citta is referring to is an ultimate reality. I'm going to explain a bit more. So this is something that I was sharing just now. Concepts cannot be regarded as impermanent or permanent because concepts is based on your convention. If I call it permanent, then it is permanent, but I can't prove you right or wrong. Okay. Okay, now let us put concept aside. Let's look at ultimate reality because it is the reason why we practice deep concentration, because we don't just want to learn the Dhamma based on concepts, because when we are really down and out, it doesn't help. Okay, we need to go deeper. We need to see ultimate reality and be truly convinced of it. So there are altogether 4 ultimate realities in this whole universe according to the Abhidhamma: consciousness, mental factors, materiality, and nibbana. I need to rush a little bit because I got lots of content. So yeah, just realize. So I will be faster. So among 4 of them, material phenomena, materiality is the easiest to see. So we will start with materiality. There are altogether 28 types of materiality. This is a very difficult thing for us to understand. But basically, to a meditator with the eyes closed, imagine the mind is radiant from the light of jhana. Without the eyes, without convention, without using the ears, you're supposed to observe the world. When you observe material phenomenon, maybe you start with your hair, your skin and all that. You won't call it skin or hair because these are convention. What you'll be observing is the pure sensations. And then when you observe enough of the body and the floor, the sun, other people, you realize that all the material phenomenon has got this earth, water, fire, and wind. And depends on their permutation and combination, there is color, there's smell, and there's taste. If you were to play around with a bit more earth, oh, it becomes a bit yellowish. When you play a little bit more with water, then the color change, the smell also change, the taste also change. With the eyes closed, without using the nose, you actually can take your mind to feel. Not feel is just a term, but it's directly know, okay? Then you can check, all of material phenomenon has got earth, water, fire, wind, color, smell, and taste. And then there is also this nutritive essence that keep causing them to sustain at that moment. And only in a certain place in the human body, the cat's body, the dog's body, a ghost's body, a deva's body, there are certain parts that is very sensitive, is transparent, and that is the eye element that's very sensitive to color. And there's a certain part in the nose, a bit yellowish, just transparent for the human, just when it comes to smell, it's very sensitive. This one not sensitive to smell, this one sensitive to smell. Then you actually feel like that. Then there's a ear base, there's a nose base, there's a tongue base, there's a body base, sensitive to earth, fire, and wind. Okay? And then there's a heart base where the mind resides. So some people think that mind resides in the brain, but to a meditator, it is here. It is also everywhere. Why? Because everywhere has got body base, eye base, ear base, nose base, and tongue base. So it is everywhere. All these base can have consciousness, but most of the consciousness occurs in the heart base, and there's a materiality to it. It has a smell, it has a color. And then there is a male gender determining, and then there's a female gender determining. So man has got this essence and female has got that. And then there's a sound, and then there's life faculty for material phenomenon, especially those, only in those that are eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, heart, male and female. The rest don't have this life faculty. Sorry, let me correct myself. Only in the materiality that contains those sense bases, as well as the gender determining, only those materiality has got life essence. The rest, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, these are all derived from the previous 18. The phenomenon. So when you observe, there are certain phenomenon, the way they arise, the way they behave, then this is from 19 to 28. How does materiality occur? They occur like coconut, kalapa. Okay, so what does it mean? If you look at the materiality, very solid, very compact. But when you look deeply, they are just pockets of particles. The moment they arise, they pass away. And in each particle, there is a lot of space. There is just energy, earth energy, water energy, fire energy, wind energy, and there's a certain energy that is a result of these four, the color energy, the smell energy, but the moment they arise, they pass away. There's nothing. It's as if you can put your hand through it, but of course, we can't. So they occur like that. So what material phenomena appears as contact, but when you actually see deeply, they are just particles, just packets of energy, nothing very much. This is an important understanding for the understanding of anicca, dukkha, and anatta. There are four causations of matter. Karma, you will understand it when we practice dependent origination, how the eye base, ear base, and all that arise resulting from karma. But the consciousness also produces material phenomenon. You think bad, oh, there's a certain material phenomenon arising, black color. When you think good, oh, it is bright. And these are particles of brightness. Temperature born, all the fire element can produce its own generations of kalapas. And then nutriment, you eat something, how they generate to become a very special kind of kalapas that nourishes the rest of the body. Now, we finished with material phenomenon already. Let's talk about consciousness. Consciousness, what is consciousness? You see, the Abhidhamma is for meditators. It is for meditators to know and feel like a person who has never tasted tom yum soup, take tom yum soup. Okay? While we have not attained to jhana, we can only understand this ultimate reality by fingers pointing to the moon. Okay, so we are using descriptors. So traditionally in the Abhidhamma, there are descriptors in the set of four. This phenomenon called consciousness, what is consciousness? The person who can know consciousness, don't need descriptors. But if you don't, then I will guide you. The characteristic is that of knowing. The function is that of being the king of all the other mental factors. It is the forerunner. Because of consciousness, the mental factors arise, and that causes the whole physical phenomenon to move in a certain drift. And then we start to go and kill or steal or help people. Okay, so the mind functions as that. And it appears to the meditator as a continuous chain. And the proximate cause is body and mind, name and form. So how does consciousness appear? So just take a look at this animation. I'll explain later. So imagine we see a car. Apparently, this is a car that somebody donate. Maybe our aunt who just passed away will it to us. Instead of having greed, imagine we have gratitude, because this is an illustration of wholesome mind. So how does consciousness appear to the meditator? Okay, it's like that. This is consciousness slowed down zillions of time, okay? Slowed down is like that. It's like flashes, like stroboscope. Huh? And all the diagrams are yellow, the blue circle, and that one is just graphs, okay, to illustrate the type of mind. So when we perceive, when we see this convertible BMs, aunt willed to us, initially we are so sad. Then we feel so grateful. Actually, I don't need this, but I really feel very grateful. Then every time you see the BMW, your mind is so full of wholesome mind. But when you go into deep concentration and check the mind is like that. So the manifestation of consciousness is like that. But each phase is very different. You can see big blue, small green, So of course it's not this color, but when it's just an illustration of the content of this mind. So we have to talk about different kinds of minds. This is the part of Abhidhamma that I found most difficult. And usually when we learn Abhidhamma, most teachers start with this part. Then we are lost. Then we don't want to attend already. So that was what happened to my friend many years ago. I think 2020, Sayadaw U Silananda came to Singapore in in Manjushri Secondary School, there was a series of classes on Abhidhamma. So my friend said, Wai Chong is very boring. It's all numbers. Then I wasn't interested, but somehow Brother Sun Han asked me to go. So I went along. Oh, I saw Brother Gan Kim Tek from Palelai. He gave me a book that he sponsored the printing and invited me to go Sayadaw 𝐶 talk. Then I met Sun Han. Then we were together. We exchanged notes. Because you have got a classmate, it makes it very interesting. And then when you talk about the chittas, the 89, the 121, totally you get lost. So luckily at that time, it was just extracurricular activity. I don't really need to study, but only later that it became very useful. So anyway, I've simplified everything here, You can classify consciousness into 4 kinds: wholesome and unwholesome, resultant and functional. Wholesome and unwholesome have karma. Resultant is a result of karma. Functional are just active mind without karma, such as the mind of an arahant that is doing active things. It can also be certain moments in our thought process that has no karmic energy. So that is wholesome, unwholesome, resultant. Even a cat has this. So can a cat have wholesome mind? We don't know, right? There's this Zen question, does a dog have Buddha nature? I used to have this cat. When I feed him, he would rub himself against me before he eats. I take that as a gratitude mind. So maybe a cat has wholesome mind, okay? Then instead of eating the food in the cat dish, he will eat outside first. I think he has OCD. So I think, so there is certain mind, unwholesome, wholesome mind in the cats. There's also another way of classifying. That is, as I mentioned, Abhidhamma is true across all universe, not just in human realm, but in Deva, Brahma realms. So you can also classify the mind in terms of where they occur. Okay, where they occur. So you have got the sense sphere, which is the realms of ghosts and animals and humans and devas. That's a sense sphere. And then you have got Brahma in the Rupa Jhana, first, second, third, and fourth. And then you have Brahma in the Arupa Jhana realms. So that is the minds happening there. And all of these beings in these 3 realms, Kama Vachara, Rupa Vachara, and Arupa Vachara, all of them can realize Nibbana. So during that phase, the supramundane mind can happen, the mind of becoming a Sotapanna, and so on. I think that's enough. Okay, let's talk about mental factors. Mental factors is very interesting. When I was preparing this, I thought next month, Sister Eileen asked me to do another talk. I haven't thought of the topic. Maybe I'll go through mental factors because it's very useful for meditators and also day-to-day life. Mental factors are ingredients of a mind, just like Tom Yum soup again, okay? So you have a mind. What makes this mind wholesome, unwholesome depends on the content. If consciousness is like water, mental factors are what make the water into a specific kind of soup. Okay, so they can occur together with the consciousness in different combinations according to fixed laws. This is a fixed laws, very simple, okay? But I think I'll elaborate further next month. So all the mental factors, there are altogether 52 of them. To your right-hand side, that big box are all the wholesome ones, or call it beautiful. Why don't we call it wholesome? Because Buddha and Arahant also have this. They are not wholesome because Buddha and Arahant no longer have karma, so we call it beautiful. And then on your left-hand side, the upper part, these are ethically variable. Means they are neither wholesome or unwholesome, they are just there, okay? But they are important. And then the left side bottom is the unwholesome ones, okay? And among the ethically variable ones, the left side top, There's one universal, which is to the left, and then there's one occasional to the right. The universal mental factors, all consciousness must have it. This is a bare basic. That means there's no pure water in the ultimate reality of mind. The water always comes with a little bit of extra things as a law. These extra things are contact, feeling, perception, volition, one-pointedness, life faculty, and attention. And then occasionally you can have vitaka, vichara, initial application and sustained application. Sometimes translated as applied thought and sustained thought. Decision, energy, zest, and desire. That is why it's a frequent question asked, is desire good or bad? If we don't desire, why would we want to do good things? Then the teacher will invariably say, desire is ethically variable. Desire is neutral. Desire is not greed, it's different. Desire is just the mind wanting to reach. For example, even if you do wholesome things, like we want to learn the Dhamma, we come here, or we practice in order to realize Nibbana, the desire to realize Nibbana is like a passion, it is neutral. So in the 37 Bodhipakkhiyas, there are 4 of them called the 4 Iddhipadas: consciousness, desire, energy, and wisdom. Desire is one of the 37 factors that support realization. We need passion in our practice. So passion itself is neutral. Okay? It is not bad or good. The left bottom are the unwholesome ones. The delusion, shamelessness, fearlessness, and restlessness. These are universal. All unwholesome mind must have these 4. As long as there's an unwholesome mind, like the cat trying to at me. Okay. Unwholesome mind, surely there's ignorance, shamelessness, fearlessness, and restlessness. Then that looks like aversion. Okay. Or if it is because there's another cat coming close, it's aversion and avarice, stinginess, the territorialness. Okay. It can also be seen in humans. Okay. Why are you here? This is my, this is my business. Why are you coming in? Okay. So there's avarice. The occasionals depends. Is it the greed type of unwholesome or aversion type unwholesome? Greed type unwholesome, greed can have wrong view or need not have wrong view, can have conceit. Okay. Hatred always, if you have a hatred mind, it's always there. Sometimes it comes with envy, sometimes it comes with avarice, sometimes it comes with remorse. Sloth and torpor happens occasionally, so is doubt. Beautiful factors, this one is very, very useful. Okay. When your mind is wholesome, the universal 28 to 46, all in all, there are 14 mental factors are always there. That means if there is faith in your heart, faith is this trusting, this surrendering, this just go. This faith, when you have faith, you're bound to have mindfulness, and that you will always have shame and moral dread. Shame and moral dread is very interesting. When the mind is respectful, there is shame and moral dread. That's why just now, if you notice, when I do guided meditation, I ask you to have a heart of a disciple, to be respectful of the breath as if it is the Buddha himself. When the mind is respectful, you will have shame and moral dread, you will have mindfulness, you will have faith, you will have non-greed, non-hatred, neutrality of the mind, tranquility of the mind and the consciousness, tranquility of the lightness of mental factors and consciousness, malleability, wieldiness, proficiency, and rectitude. Rectitude means frankness and authenticity. So when the mind is mindful, you are really true to yourself. Some people think that when I'm greedy and I'm lying, when I'm getting angry, I'm just being frank. No. When you're really, really honest and sincere, we are wholesome. Okay? Occasional right speech, right action, and all that. So those are also very important. Compassion, wisdom. All wholesome mind not necessarily have wisdom. So that is why a lot of people are very spiritual, and we should say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. But it doesn't mean there is wisdom. Not just for non-Buddhists, Buddhists also the same. Okay. Let's talk about thought process. Just now I showed you the animation. I'm going to explain. What happened is when we see something like the BMW, it contact the eye base, not the eye. It is the, with the eyes closed, only the mind, the brightness of a samadhi mind. Looking at the eye is just this transparent element that's flickering, arise and pass away. This transparent element contact with the color, and then going through this, and then processes, and then perceive that this is a car, and then after a while perceive that this is BM, convertible, and then combine with a distraction of thinking that this is your aunt giving to you, then perceive again this BMW, then create different meaning to it. So this, what happened is when the eye contact with this vision of the car, the gray color mind called Bhavanga mind, pop, pop, pop. 3 paths. And then there's 5-door averting mind, which is a very simplistic mind that try to reach to the, try to avert to the object here. And then the consciousness arise in the eye base that contact with this object. And then the rest of the process happen here, receiving, investigating, determining. And then there is 7 jhavanas, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, where the mind relish it with karma, karmic energy. And then registration, and then go into bhavanga, subconscious again. And then the mind will go again and contact with this image in the mind. And then 7 jhavanas, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, registration, and then bhavanga. So series, this happens a lot, a lot, a lot. But when we say 5-door everything, I-door everything, what do you mean? These are just functions of the consciousness. And to a meditator, they feel differently. It feels, when they see this, the contact, when you observe and then you go back and then you analyze what happened was, immediately you receive the information, the mind had to like pop, 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 stop for a while, and then this is it 3 times. And then the mind advert to the car, and then it will occur in the eye door. Very simple, the triangle, one other, universal, ethically neutral mind. And then you receive it, there is some applied thought, sustained thought, and then there is a decision. And then you investigate it with joy because it is a pretty object, and then you will determine that this is a car, and then the mind has 7 moments of this kind of mind. The right upper corner of purple is where all the universal beautiful factors are, because yes, gratitude, there is wisdom. So, and then this occurs for 7 times. Okay, and then you register twice, and then the mind go into subconscious, and then go back into mind door thought process. So you can see even a simple eye object, there's eye, and then the mind continue to relish it at every split second. Okay, jump too long. Let's analyze the thought process during death and dying, because it's very important. If you ask me what's the purpose of life, I would say it's for good death. If somebody asks me how to age well, you age so that you have a good death. How do you live well? You live so that you have a good death. It's all about good death. So what we're all doing is in order for us to have a good death. So we need to know what is this thought process during death and dying. So all of us are born first with this rebirth linking consciousness. I'll explain this a bit later. And then throughout decades, until maybe we live to 100 years. And then imagine we are in Tan Tock Seng, maybe 100 years old, we're in the ward. Then we have a lot of pain and suffering, and then we want to go home but don't want. Then we see the image of our mom, and then talk to our mom. Then our mom, then the nurse think that you're hallucinating, give you injection. All these, okay, then you're drowsy, go into Bhavanga, but when you're Bhavanga, you're dreaming of your childhood and all these, then doctor come and check on you. But your pneumonia is getting worse and your mind is very confused. Just before you die, okay, you have an image. The Pasbhavanga, the tree, pop, pop, pop. The green color is the gray color just now. 3 gray color Bhavanga, and then 5-door everything, because it is a vision, so it is 5-door. Then your eye consciousness, you see it in your eye, is a visual hallucination, the doctor will say it. But to the Buddhists, you're visually hallucinating even now, okay? Everything we are seeing is just a mental, projections. I mean, not literally, but what is not visual hallucinating, right? So in our eyes closed, we actually see the object. And then there is receiving mind, there is investigating mind, there's determining mind, all the very tiny, very weak mind. And then there are 5 jhavanas, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not 7 now, because our mind is very weak just before we die. This is a millisecond before we die, very tiny moment before we die. We see this object, and the object can be a flower. How come I see a flower? Maybe this flower symbolizes Udana, the flower, to the Buddha. Maybe what you saw is this. But why do you see this color? Why do you see this flower? You don't know, but the next moment you're in a heaven. And then maybe as a deva, there's a teacher there, and then it taught you how to reflect on dependent origination. You realize just before you die, you see this flower. And then when you analyze further, this flower is linked with a certain Sunday. Today is the 20th of October 2024. We are here, we offer flower to the Buddha. Oh, then you realize that the fact that you're in heaven was because you came to Buddhist fellowship offering flower to the Buddha. Okay, that karma caused you to be reborn in heaven. Or you may see fire. But you're in heaven. How come fire? I'm in heaven. Oh, because usually fire means hell. But fire, go to heaven, why? Then you reflect, why did I see fire? Oh, I was practicing fire kasina. Then you're in Brahma. But maybe you didn't go to Jhana, so you go to Deva realm, fire kasina. But in Jhana realm, then you go to Brahma realm, okay? But usually you see fire, it is, the process will not be, it's the jhavanas of fire, but before you pass away, it'll be an investigating mind. The mind is very weak. Or you can see light of nimitta. So that is, maybe you practice until you can see a nimitta, then maybe you practice until jhana, then you'll be born in Brahma realm, or you can see a red color. So this object can be a symbol of our karma, can be the action of our karma, like we see a vision of us offering, or it can also be a destination. The red color is the destination, the color of the mother's womb. So a lot of people who become reborn as human, when they reflect, just before they die in the previous life, the image was red color. Or you can see angels. Maybe, they see 西方三圣, because they've been practicing 净土佛教, Pure Land Buddhism. So they see the Bodhisattvas and they interpret as 西方三圣. Or maybe they've been a Catholic. So before they die, they see Mother Mary. Or if you have Bai Guan Yin, then before you die, you see Guan Yin. So you see a vision of devas coming. And that's when you'll be reborn in heavenly realm. That's a vision of destiny. Then death happens. I put green color because this mind, if you analyze it like a soup, this taste is the same as the taste of the past Vavanga, vibrating Vavanga. It's the same taste. They are the same mind, but I call it death. The other one I call Bhavanga, which is the same as the rebirth mind. But this death mind followed immediately by the rebirth mind. The rebirth linking mind in the new place is the same mind as the Jhavana mind in the last moment. This Jhavana mind imagine we are in Deva realm, okay? We have a vision of brightness, of a light, and we're in Deva realm. That is our Jhavana mind. And as a Deva, we practice meditation. And then if we can observe our Bhavanga mind. The object of the Bhavanga mind was the vision of the light. Okay. Then subsequently, the whole life happens, and then we die. Okay. And then another rebirth linking. Okay. Now let's talk about the mind between the active thought processes. Because that's the one that is the defining mind for our existence. We are born as a human, our Bhavanga mind, we are subconscious, we cannot be conscious of it. But if you can be conscious of it, you see that it was looking at a redness. Okay, so that's the Bhavanga mind. This thought process, they are resultant minds. In between the thought process which are active, these are all resulted from previous karma. Okay, we call it Bhavanga, and it is the same as the rebirth mind. It is also the same as the death mind, okay, of that life. But the taste of this mind is the same. It's the same kind of soup with the same kind of herbal ingredients. Okay, so different realms have got different Bhavanga mind. So the realm, if you're in Brahma realm, your Bhavanga mind is a Rupa Vachara consciousness. The one I explained just now, Rupa Vachara. If you're in the animal mind, ghost mind, your Bhavanga mind is an investigation consciousness, which is very simple. There is applied thought, sustained thought, and there is a decision, but there is no joy. Okay. Then there is the rest of the universal factors: contact, feeling, perception, volitional intention or volition, attention, nutritive essence, and one-pointedness. So this is the mind of a being in the lower realm. So the causes of the resultant mind are due to past life. It's actually at the past life, just before you die. Okay, so this is the same diagram. If you remove the active thought process, these are the Bhavanga mind. The green color is when he's in a human. The blue color is when he's in the Deva realm. The purple color maybe is in a Brahma realm, something else. Okay, these are the minds between thought process. So the nature of all the above ultimate realities, citta, cetasikas, and rupas, they are called conditioned. They are conditioned, and this is what we call sankhara. All sankhara are anicca, all sankhara are dukkha, and all sankhara are anatta. But at this moment, we are still seeing it partially. They arise and pass away. So they're anicca, dukkha, anatta. Now we need to understand how they connect with one another. I hope I can finish today. Okay, I'll do very fast. I think maybe sometimes when you do very fast, you understand better because you capture the concepts, not the details, you know. There are two ways to understand dependent origination: the cause and effects. There are many causes and conditions giving rise to many effects and side effects. This is the way. There's no one cause that causes many results. There's also no many causes and conditions giving to one result. It's many causes causing many results. This is one way. Another way is the relation. How does this cause this effect? Okay, I'll explain both. What is the cause of this existence, this mind matter? Currently, we're human, so let's analyze human. It's because of ignorance. We practice karma, you know, like coming to Buddhist fellowship and offer flower. This is wholesome karma. Okay, because of this wholesome karma, maybe because of this, we are reborn as a deva. The rebirth linking consciousness of deva happened. That's consciousness. Then there's a mind matter of a deva happen. Consciousness, mind matter, they are together. And then six sense bases of a deva. And with six sense bases, there'll be contact. You see other beautiful objects. Okay. Male and female. Okay. Contact. And then there's feeling. The feeling gives rise to craving naturally because ignorance is not eradicated. And with repeated craving, there's this being stuck, clinging. Okay. And then whatever you do, you'll be unconsciously motivated by a repetition of this experience. So this will cause you to remain in existence. So this is becoming. As long as you remain in existence, you'll be reborn. Birth. As long as you're born, there's decay. You can also understand backwards. Why do we die? Because we are born. Why are we born? Because we exist. Do we exist? Because there are causes for us to exist. Why? Because we are stuck. Why? Because we like. Why? Because that we felt. Because there was contact helplessly due to the presence of these 6 sense bases, because we were reborn with mind and matter, because we created the causes from the past due to ignorance. Another way to understand dependent origination is to understand the relationship. How this and these are related, how this and that related. They're altogether 24. If you go through all of them, they're all related to this big four. But you cannot jump to this big four. You need to go through the process of understanding all of them. Otherwise, like I told my friends, in the journey to the West, 西游记, Sun Wukong could have brought everybody to India and get the 无字天书, but he had to journey slowly because otherwise it doesn't work. You have to go through. Insights no shortcut. Have to go through. So after you learn all of this is how you relax. Actually, they can be summarized into this big four. Object conditionality means the rest of the phenomenon of this my body is related to what hits it. Hits it to the eye, the ears, the nose, or the taste. So for example, a dying person, it can be hit with this, the flower, the light, the fire, due to the past karmic force. I'm talking about, sorry, this is not object, this is karma. Let me go back again. I wanted to explain karma first. Okay, karma, how does karma affect us? It affects us at our dying moment, helplessly. So we cannot say that the person seems to be in pain and die in pain. You don't know. The moment before they pass away, they're very peaceful, or maybe they are quiet. You don't know what is it in their eye. But so sometimes it can be a brightness, sometimes it can be a flower and all that. It is all, we can't help. It is all related to the karma. We can help a little bit by hinting, you have been doing so much for me. Thank you. I love you. Please forgive me. I forgive you. You have been a great mother. Do that to remind her of the good things. But ultimately, we don't know. Okay? So all these are a result of underlying motivations. Rooted in ignorance, we do wholesome or unwholesome things. Rooted in ignorance, craving, and clinging. So even we do wholesome things like coming here to offer flowers, the offering of flowers is very wholesome, but the motivation is rooted in ignorance, craving, and clinging. Okay, this one is difficult, but we can check. Why did you come? Why did you study the Dhamma? It's wholesome. Why do you offer food to the beggars or the Sangha or to the Buddha? What is your motivation? Then because of this karma, you're reborn, because the Javana determines the Bhavanga of the next life. So that Bhavanga is the determining place where you're reborn. Okay? So that is the 31 planes of existence. Object, I jump to object because I find object is very, very useful for stress management, okay? For managing overthinking mind. So when you're very stressed, or you can, why are you stressed? Because your mind is holding a concept. And this concept, 做画地自牢, imprisons you. And then you want to let go. If you try to let go by thinking, then you cannot let go. Then you go to the park observe the trees, play with kids. This is object pachayo. But most of us don't go to the parks. We eat, we open the fridge because it's very convenient. But what's more convenient is our phone. Then we watch all the different kinds of videos. Of course, you can also listen to music, go for exercise. Some people foolishly, because the suffering is too bad, they drown their sorrows in alcohol. Okay, worse still, illicit drugs. But the best of all is those of us who have the habit of meditation. When the mind is full of trouble, we let go and then just pay mindfulness on the breath. But breath is, a lot of us, we say we're mindful. Mind is very difficult to be mindful of. Material phenomena is easier. That's why in Satipatthana, we start with body. Body is grosser. Breath is part of the body. So we go to the breath. Or just mindfulness on the sensation, that's even grosser. That one can replace the mind. But if your mind is very subtle, you can be mindful of your anxiety, of the aversion, of your unpleasant feeling as well. The next conditionality is Upanisaya Pachayo. There are three kinds, but the natural decisive support is what I want to explain. It is related to related to the phenomenon that affect one another, even if they are conventional truth. Health is conventional truth. Because of health, you can have happiness and energy. It gives us understanding of causation. It's like study of sociology, psychology, economics, science, history. Yeah? So there are always causation. So if you're ill, you're unhappy, your past habits create future habits. Your past failure can create future success. Your past parami, because you've been practicing, building your character to make it more suitable for practice, you find that Dhamma practice is easy. You listen to Dhamma, immediately you think that this is true. You know. But whereas some other people, they look at this, they think that, I can't believe. That is parami. Okay? Past inspiration, aspiration, and so on. It explains temperament, personality, inclinations, talents, and struggles. So this is very useful for us to know ourselves and also know other people in order to help ourselves and others. In order to help a person, you need to know what are the drivers, the motivations, the tendency, temperament, the personality, the different kind of intelligence of a person. Lastly, I'd like to talk about presence conditionality. It is a psychological law. When this happened, that happened. When this is there, there's always the other things. Just like how I explained the universal beautiful factors. When there's faith, there will always be mindfulness, there will always be acceptance, there will always be contentment. They all come together as a set. I got two more things I'd like to say, so please bear with me. I'll do it very fast. Meditation, that's calm and insight. We did calm, okay, all the different objects from 10. We didn't do foundness of the corpse because I think it may be R21. So we do 10 kasinas. We didn't do 4 immaterial because you need to have 4th jhana of the kasinas. We did 4 illimitables. We didn't do the perception of loathsomeness of food, but we did analysis and the 10 recollections. Based on that, we can see the ultimate realities. And in the suttas, you find that ultimate realities is described as the world, as in the Rohitassa Sutta, or the mind and body, nama rupa, or the 5 aggregates, as in rupa, vedana, sanya, sankhara, and vijnana. They are the same, just different, just frameworks. The people with sharp wisdom, the world is good enough, like Rohitassa, or nama rupa is good enough. Or those who are moderate wisdom, then you understand as 5 aggregates. But those who are even slower, Dhamma, okay? 12 bases. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body base, and color, smell, taste, and then bodily sensations, which is your elements, touch, okay? And then there is also the non-material, all the mind objects, and the heart base. So this covers all chitta, cettasikas, and rupa. Okay? And then you have the 18 dhatus, which comprises the eye, color, and the eye consciousness. So 3 times 6. Just now was 2 times 6. Now it's 3 times 6. The 18 dhatus, 18 states. The 12 links of dependent origination. The 6 sense bases is the same as the body, but the feeling and all the ignorance and everything else is the volitional formations and then consciousness. The 4 foundations of mindfulness, we start with body, all the way when we practice, the four elements as described in Satipatthana Sutta, you find that they break up into the kalapas. And then for each kalapas, there are all the material phenomenon, and there's also a space in between them. And then you can also practice feeling, because feeling is grosser. And then Dhamma is the rest. And then mind is the consciousness. And they are all the same as the three conditioned reality of material phenomenon, cetasikas, and consciousness. Then you break into tiny particles, and the mind is just not continuous, they are all broken. And then you will see them as anicca, dukkha, anatta. This time, especially when you see how they're connected with the past and the future, because you don't just see this body, but also externally, and also past and future, the 12 links, how they cause each other and how they relate with one another. You see that the material phenomenon is like a foam floating down Ganges. It looks like a solid styrofoam, but when you just go through, oh, it's gone, okay? And feeling is like a bubble. Happy feeling, gone. Unhappy feeling, gone. Perception is like a mirage. Perception is just like touch and go. This new thing, you just make an impression. Old things, you make an impression, but connect and recognize it. And because the mind happens so fast, a few perception, then it gradually form a picture, okay? It's a mirage. And the volitional formations, all your cetana, your volitions, your contact, your applied thought, sustained thought, they're just layers of layers, as if I remove all this, there's a core, but you remove and remove, there's nothing inside, like a plantain, like a banana tree trunk. And consciousness, the moment they rise, they pass away, just like an illusion. So all these five gates are just like that. And what will happen is you deepen your understanding, and that is the beginning of vipassana, where we start to have insight. First, we start to differentiate what is mind, what is matter. They are different. And then we understand that there are causes to it. We understand the relation as independent origination. And then we start to see that, oh, this is actually rupa, this is nama, this is rupa, vedana, sanya, okay? And then we observe them arising and passing away. Material phenomena arise and pass away. Mental phenomena arise and pass away. And then we feel very shook. And then there's a lot of light. Then there's a bit of ego. Okay, that is weak stage, early stage. Some people thought that they are enlightened just by that. Okay, not yet. You have to carry on. You need to be very humble. Always a disciple. So then when you carry on with that, it won't obstruct you. And that is the mature state. Okay. And after that, the teacher may tell you to focus on the passing away only. Arise and pass away, but now you're just focusing passing. Then you start to feel, wow, your mom is your brother, your cat, your house, everything passing away. And then you start to have this sense of terror, sense of danger, disenchantment. You want out. It's not that you want out like you want to stop. It's just like you disenchanted, and then you need to make an end of suffering. And then you reflect, and then you become really equanimous. For some people, that's it. Because in their past lives, they might have made a determination to be a Buddha, or that they want to become an Arahant under the teaching of Buddha Metteyya. Okay? Then they'll stop here. Because by then it's equanimous. Enlightened or not, it is all equanimous. Some of them, they have a certain determination. They just want to help all beings, They cannot bear to see so many people suffer. And then their suffering, although it's really painful because they went through the panic attacks, all this, they feel it's nothing, okay? But if there are some people with the parami to penetrate further, and they continue to observe the five aggregates and their causes across time and space internal, external, far, near, superior, inferior, gross, subtle, past, present, and future, then they will actually realize Nibbana. Immediately, there was a path mind, and then there is a fruition mind. And then sometimes they may look back and observe how this actually happened, analyzing the mind. And then they'll see that the whole world is just driven by material phenomenon influencing mental factors, influencing the consciousness, influencing mental, just influencing internal, external. It's just this mechanism going on. And then related to the contact externally, sustained by food, by fire, by mind, by karma, up and down this whole universe. And because of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, Sariputta, Moggallana, and all the enlightened disciples that's transmitting down the suttas, the Abhidhamma, the commentary text, we are able to rise above and realize Nibbana. Okay. So that's all for my talk. Sorry, I overrun by 10 minutes. Yeah.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Brothers and sisters, yeah. First of all, I want to thank you, Dr. Ng, for the talk. I think there's a lot of information. Yeah. So maybe we have one or two questions. We can have one or two questions. I think the time still allowed. Yeah.
Thank you, bro, for the great session. So I have one or two questions I would like to ask. So the first question is, what could be the most relevant and interesting can be inferred from the Abhidhamma to apply to meditation and practice that can help us to transgress or go above, go beyond the form consciousness, form perception, and to detach us from clinging to the form, is seeing everything in the world as an element, as described or in the Abhidhamma, guarantee us to detach to the form attachment. And yeah, so that's the first question. The second question is regarding those elements described in the Abhidhamma, such as Javana. There are, for example, 7 or 5 Javana in the thought process, something. So that kind of number, I wonder, is that a beauty of a nature? Is that why is it 5? Why is not 6? Why is not 7? So it's like something. Is that a common observance in sentient being, or is that just applied to all beings? Yeah. So that's 2 questions. Thank you.
I'll answer the second question first because it is shorter. If you don't read the Abhidhamma, you just practice, like how my teacher would teach, just practice first. Then I say, how many? Without doing, they will say, oh, this one, what's the color? Then they'll say this color. And then they'll count how many javanas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Check again. Then check 7. Everybody check is 7. And then when you practice on dependent origination, you find that it's actually 5. It is across the universe. When you realize that, your faith in the Buddha is tremendous. How come he knows there are only 7? How comes he knows before the javanas there's this and that and that? And you will realize that the Abhidhamma cannot be developed by PhDs, not by scholars. It's by people who meditated. And not just anyone who meditated, because it's in so detailed. If it is not even maybe Shariputra can, but maybe not other arahants. But probably not even Shariputra. It has to come from the Buddha. Because the relations of this and that is so subtle and so profound. The first question, what among Abhidhamma is very useful for us who are trying to practice to rise above the world in the sense of Kama Vachara world, the sense world, to practice of bhavana. Which part of the Abhidhamma is very useful? Actually, you don't need Abhidhamma to do that. The suttas, even without the suttas, a teacher will tell you to keep precepts, practice dana, be an honest person. You don't even have to be a Buddhist to practice until jhana. As long as you lead an honest life, you don't kill, you don't have remorse, your life is very simple. You see somebody is poor, you give. And then your mind is very simple. Somebody say, hey, this brown color is very nice. Then you say, yeah, actually it's very mesmerizing. Why don't we expand it across the whole universe? Then you close your eyes, wow, the whole universe is dark or brown. Mindful on the one in the brownness in front. Then mindful, the mind keep thinking. Then you sit there for an hour. You don't even have to be a Buddhist to do this. That's because a person like that have very good practice in the past, might have practiced kasina in the past. But Abhidhamma, after I read the Abhidhamma, I realized if I had known about mental factors, it would be so helpful. If I had known about patthana, the dependent origination teaching, I would know the levers of control. So, for example, the patthana teaching, the part on Upanisa-paccaya. Why I cannot meditate today? Well, I struggle and I blame myself and the mind keep conceptualizing. But when I understand Upanisa-paccaya, hey, there are conditions, because today you're sick, you're having a fever, so the mind cannot concentrate. Or because of paramis, you didn't practice in the past. Or maybe today was an extremely busy day for me. I have so many things on my mind, so today I can't practice. So the understanding of Upanipasa, the condition conducive to samadhi is very helpful. Although the teaching of Patthana doesn't say what conditions will help you to have samadhi, but you know at least that samadhi is not just by brute effort or just by relax and go into samadhi. It's also not like that. There are causes and conditions around it, and it guides you to go and find out what are the conditions. So there are a lot of teachings. How to be mindful, associate with the mindful, keep quiet, don't talk so much, don't go into argument. These are Upanisa-paccaya, but the causes, they condition us to have samadhi. The mental factors teachings, when I heard that faith, mindfulness, everything come together as a set menu, this is so enlightening. So if my mind is accepting, unconditional acceptance, this is dosa, no rejection, no aversion. When the mind is unconditional acceptance of this breath, my mind automatically is mindful on the breath. I don't have to say mindful. When I say mindful, gradually, I may not be mindful. I'm just having vitaka, thinking. And then there is restless mind, thinking. That's not mindfulness. So also by studying the mental factors, we can differentiate. Attention is different from applied thought, which is different from sustained thought, which is different from mindfulness. They are not the same. We can also differentiate between desire and greed. So that's why maybe next month I'll talk about mental factors. It's useful for meditators. Consciousness, I feel not so much. Bhavanga, not so much. But Bhavanga is also helpful because sometimes we meditate, and then it's so peaceful, and then we thought we arrived, then we tang ping, lay back. Then the whole mind is all just gross out in bliss, all bright. Then we come out. We thought we're in jhana. Just now, 5 minutes only. No, 1 hour. Oh, so fast. How was it? Oh, very relaxing. Were you mindful on the breath? No, it's just white. You're in Bhavanga. You actually went into a daze. It's like when you're tired, you daze. That is not jhana. So that part of Abhidhamma is also very helpful. Yeah, maybe there are other pockets of helpfulness, but off the cuff, these three.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ng. I think maybe one more question, if anyone, one more burning question. If not, then I will close. There is one.
Hi, thank you so much for the talk. Could you please recommend us some books for beginners for Abhidhamma? Maybe. Thank you.
Okay. The Abhidhammata Sangaha translated by Bhikkhu Bodhi is useful as a reference, but somebody need to guide us to read it. It was apparently his commentary and translation of a Venerable Dhammapala, if I remember correctly, or Anuruddha, who lived around the 5th or 6th century. That book was like that. So that one for beginners, but with a teacher. Even before that, I think Sayalay Susila's book, Unraveling the Mystery of Mind and Matter, is quite readable with a lot of diagrams. Then Dr. Mim Tim Mom, who was a chemistry professor from Melamin, I think he had a lot of good teachings, but I didn't read it, but I have yeah, I know he actually teach a lot of Abhidhamma. Then YouTube videos, Bhikkhu Bodhi.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ng. So now, brothers and sisters, let's close for today's Sunday service. Let's once again say 3 sadhus to Dr. Ng. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.